What's the most ridiculous reason for which you've been dumped? The girl told me she thought the boy who she had a crush on for a long time was gonna ask her out. She said this to me, her then boyfriend. That's insane. I don't want to believe that they weren't just trying to lie to you to get away. Similar, after telling I was the one and that she wanted us to start a family, she dumped me because a guy she always had a crush on was flirting with her exact words, but this wasn't unexpected since I had learned she had broken with her last boyfriend because of me flirting with her. This was a while ago and she has broken a couple of other guys' hearts since then. It took me a while to realize she is the one with the problem. She thought I killed her horse. It wasn't actually her horse, with voodoo. It hung itself, because I was jealous. It was a horse. How does a horse hang itself? Someone put it in the stable with its harness on. Harness got caught. Horse panicked, fell and damaged its neck. Someone put it in the stable with its harness on. Harness got caught. Horse panicked, fell and damaged its neck. I love horses, but they are suicide machines. Whoever coined the phrase healthy as a horse had to been being ironic, because horses keel over and die or kill themselves because you looked at them funny, or a moth farted in Mexico, or Mercury was in retrograde. I think healthy as a horse comes from the idea that a horse is either healthy or dead. No in between. Long story short, she was mad I didn't grab her ass, in public, on our first date. Lol, WTF. Are you for real? Very. She thought I was too nice. You dodged a bullet, mate. Girls who resent you for being too nice are just bad matches for your personality. You can learn to be more aggressive/assertive, but you're better off finding someone who can actually get turned on by your normal personality. I had a girl who got upset that I never asked her for nude photos. It was weird. After going out with this guy for 6 months, I asked him if we were dating and he immediately dumped me. This has always been so weird to me. My friend has been dating the woman for over a year now, and they still won't call each other girlfriend/boyfriend. But this man is 39 fucking years old. It doesn't stop with these guys. It's so weird. You have to sort of slide into a relationship. You can't just ask someone on an early date, do you want to try and see if we can have a relationship, and then you're a couple until you break up. I met a woman from Thailand when I was 23, and she wouldn't even kiss me before I asked her to be my girlfriend. It seemed awkward at the time, but I actually like it a lot more. To me, it's idiotic that you have sex and share intimate details of your life, and then have to wait months and months to have the talk. Why do they do this? I dated a guy for 6 months, it's always the 6-month mark, and he said we never discussed what this was, and I'm not looking to be in a relationship. Bro, if you didn't want a relationship, you shouldn't have spent 3 to 5 days a week with me and mixed our friend groups. I had this happen. A friend and I started hanging out a lot. He took it in a more romantic direction. He initiated kissing and physical contact. We spent hours at a time talking and spending time together, took trips to the beach and other cities, had dinner at his mom's house, and had all the hallmarks of being a couple. One night after a few months I said, "So we're dating, right? Boyfriend and girlfriend?" He said, "I don't want to put a label on us." Argument ensued. We stayed friends, after some apart time, but that was it. 20 years later, I'm married, he's alone, and he constantly tells me and others that I'm the love of his life. He's actually been persistent enough about saying it that I've asked him to knock it off, since I feel it's disrespectful to my marriage. I've had to put some distance between us because he just won't stop. My girlfriend's dad won $1 million in the state lottery over winter break. Broke up with me over the phone, telling me now that I'm rich, I can't afford to date regular people like you. That's really the only thing wrong, you're just regular. But that doesn't make you rich, unless you use it wisely. Most people who have won the lottery go bankrupt later, because they don't know how to handle large sums of money. She found out the car I was driving was owned by my mom. Wait, so she dumped you because you drove a car owned by your mom? Yup. She thought that because my mom was helping me I was a broke loser. I was 18 and worked part-time at Burger King. What did she expect? God told me not to date you. I'm sorry. And guess what? This happened twice. With 2 different girls. You need to find God, bro, because he's clearly got a problem with you. Being cheeky, that sucks, man. Find God as in become religious, or as in track him down and beat his ass? Yes. I used this on a guy in high school. I was pretty religious, but there was just something that made me uncomfortable being with him that I couldn't put my finger on really. He was one of the first guys I really dated, so I didn't quite have a grasp on what was normal in a relationship or how to speak up when you're uncomfortable in a situation, especially when you don't know why. So I took that feeling I had and processed it as a sign from God that this wasn't gonna work. Turns out locking a girl in your car and refusing to unlock the door until she kisses you is not a thing normal people do. Or when she's said repeatedly how much she hates being tickled, pinning her down and tickling so hard her ribs are sore and refusing to stop unless she kisses you is uber creepy. If he wasn't also religious, I wonder how far it would have been pushed. You Mormon? 'Cause that's what happened to me and a few friends of mine. Specific story here. This friend of mine was engaged and she told him that God decided that he wasn't right for her anymore and that they needed to part ways. 6 days before the wedding that he paid for out of pocket already. Or even worse, when he tells you on your second date that he prayed about it and we're supposed to marry. Weeks later, the bishop reprimanded me for rejecting a worthy priesthood holder. I'm not ready for a relationship. It was a bad time to bring it up since we were engaged and had been together for almost 2 years. When I was 12 we played spin the bottle and I made a kissy sound before we kissed. An hour later she sent her best friend to my soccer game to break up with me. Op said ridiculous reason. This is a perfectly valid reason. He dumped me because I cheated on him. In his dream. I think he didn't have a reason to break up with you and invented that one. I don't understand why people do shit like that. You do not need a reason to break up with someone other than, I don't feel like dating you anymore. People so bad at being honest. Granted, I've had my problems with honesty before, but doing something like that is just ridiculous. On a first date, girl asked me to go buy her popcorn literally as the movie started, so I did, whispered as I was getting up, "You want butter on that?" Brought it back and she says, "Is there butter on this?" I said, "Yes." I asked and you said yeah and she said, "No." I specifically said, "Nah." I thought she was joking or something. So I said, "Well, maybe this just isn't going to work out." And she said, "I think you are right. Thanks for nothing." And left. But she took my popcorn. She should have thanked me for that. On the bright side, at least you got to watch a movie. Made a girl smile too much. She had braces and it cut up the inside of her mouth. All she has to do is put wax on her braces. It's not even difficult to get. Wax is standard when it comes to braces. I was dating a guy whose parents didn't like me. It was a long-distance relationship, and so we mostly chatted online but also made occasional phone calls. So we were talking on the phone, and at one point I said, "You shouldn't have to choose between me and your parents." The conversation continued. We decided to break up. We stayed friends. Something like 10 years later, we were talking online when the subject of our breakup came up. Turns out he thought I had said, "You should have to choose between me and your parents," and decided that he wasn't going to do that. I would never give someone that kind of ultimatum. That would be ridiculous. It blew my mind that a single misheard word caused us to break up, and we didn't realize it for 10 years. I was dating a girl in college. After a month or so I told her that I loved hanging out. We were out somewhere and she looked at me funny but smiled and we carried on with the date. Not long after she suddenly has issues meeting up and I eventually hear through a friend of hers she doesn't think it'll work out. I decide not to pursue the issue even though I thought things were going great. 6 years later we'll bump into each other. Long conversation later, it turns out she thought I had said I loved her and she thought it was all too soon and panicked etc. So could have all be averted if we had a conversation about it, but never mind. My ex's cat was named Ben. The girl I was dating's cat was named Bundles. One day, I called Bundles Ben. She asked me what I just called her cat. I thought about it, and then remembered that was my ex's cat's name. I laughed and told her and she was super unimpressed. Broke up with me the next day. And this is why I'm still surprised my husband didn't break it off when I called him my ex's name within the first 4 months of our relationship. Have you been abandoned for some ridiculous reason? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you wanna see more same videos.